Good evening, dear friends. I'm Dr. Imani Ma'at, and welcome to another episode of Progressively Yours Health and Wellness Podcast. I'm here with my fiance.
J. Bernard Kine Sr. in the house. Welcome to each of you, and we're so honored that you are here to join and be with us. We're looking forward to another fabulous and outstanding evening. But as is our custom and tradition, we like to begin our podcast with our spiritual opening by means of welcoming the ancestors to be a part of our journey. So, if you would like to participate, I'd like to invite you to take in 3 cleansing breaths in and out through your nose. I invite you to close your eyes, listen to the ting shaws, and observe your body on the inside. Just begin to notice in the sensation when you hear the ting shaws. And I have a few words from Howard Thurman. Once again, for the opportunity to present ourselves to you, our listening audience. We welcome the ancestors to be a part of our journey to inspire us in spirit, in our minds, in our bodies, so that we may continue to grow, transform our lives, and be a light so that others' lives may be transformed. In his book, The Inward Journey, Howard Thurman writes these words: the binding ties. There's a curious logic in human experience that finally permits no man to escape the good and the bad. Often, the event in which the individual is involved seems to carry with it an order which is independent of merit or demerit. This indeterminateness seems to suggest that in all living, there's an element which may be regarded as random, in the sense that it is outside of an orderly pattern of reaping and sowing. To be alive is to be involved in events, some of which take their rise uniquely in the individual's experience, some of which flow into the life, apparently without rhyme or reason. To accept all experience as raw material out of which the human spirit distills meanings and values is a part of the meaning of maturity. The binding ties. Thank you. Ashe. Namaste. Amen.
Thank you for those words of wisdom. Howard Thurman, I've had an opportunity to kind of add Howard Thurman to my, so many of the great my thinkers. He's definitely way up there with some of the best. And we're going to hear from my dear sister friend, Amakiasu, in just a moment. And then she's an author. She has an amazing book, and so much in her book resonates with me in terms of what we have shared and continue to share on this program. So you're definitely in for a treat. One thing I'd like to do a little differently this time, we always have products and services to promote wellness and wealth. And we always get into the show and there's so much excitement about the topic and about our guest. And we get to the end of the show and we're like, we didn't do our commercial piece, did we? So we're going to do that up front, share a little bit of something. It's new to me. It's called NFT rewards. When I first heard about NFTs, which stand for non-fungible tokens, and it has to do with the blockchain. It has to do with cryptocurrency. It's an opportunity for people to really learn about where this country, where the world is going in terms of money. I mean, we're so sort of attached to the mighty dollar, but there's so much more happening. And we either will be with it or we won't be with it. So when I heard about this NFT program, it's a huge opportunity to, I see it as like a savings account, but it's more than a savings account because it's like a penny auction thing where you're auctioning valuables that are, things like, I mean, there's artwork that are, being used in the NFT world. There's artwork, the NASCARs, there's aircrafts, but there's all kind of things. Everything has a value. And that's kind of where we're going. And it's just, to me, it's just fascinating. In this particular program, there are a lot of ways to earn money. There's a program, because I don't want to get tongue-tied because it is new to me. There's a presentation at 10 o'clock most nights. It was just on the screen. If they can put it back up. I don't know if people can click on their cameras with that or how they might. This is probably the best way to do it. But or highlight it. I don't know if you can highlight it when it's up as a banner. But anyway, I want you to know about it. There's another link that you can, perhaps our producers will put up the other link, which is one where you can actually sign up for the program for free and learn about it before making any investment or doing anything. It starts at a really, really low cost. So I've heard about other programs like this where you may have to pay $27,000 to participate. This is pocket change compared to that. So I encourage you all to learn about the NFT world. Get on there, sign up for free at that link that ends in Lotus Flower. I usually use Lotus Flower for all of my programs and products and services. So you'll see that again and again. But anyway, just wanted to share that with you so that we can get into our topic and into our phenomenal, phenomenal guest. I am going to do a little introduction of Amakiasu, who I knew years ago as Barbara. It took me years to change over to Amakiasu, but Bernard's been practicing your name for the past few days. You got it right now, babe?
No, see, shouldn't mess with me.
Okay, Amakiasu, no, and it's a beautiful name, and I'm gonna ask Amakiasu to tell our guests what that means, because I know it's a deep name because she's a deep person. Amakiasu has been an educator for over 30 years, teaching in both the public and private school settings, from grades K through 8. She received her bachelor's degree in education from Fisk University and master's in social work from the University of Michigan, her state of birth. In 1983, she moved to Atlanta, where she married and raised 3 children who are now young adults. Some years ago, she pursued education outside of the classroom and happily landed at Truly Living Well Center for Urban Agriculture. Our dear friend, Rashid Nureed, messing up his name, Rashid Nuri. And if I mess that up, she will correct me. Where she served as a garden educator and camp director for 8 years. These are phenomenal gardens in Atlanta. It's urban gardens, and she may talk a little bit about that during the show. She also led numerous corporate volunteer events at the Truly Living Well Center. In related fields, Amakiasu directed the Family and Children's Program of the first National Black Arts Festival and served as Education Facilitator in the inaugural year of the Georgia Aquarium, helping to build out its educational program. Amakiasu is also the author of a hands-on curriculum in which children build sustainable communities in miniature gardens, I believe. It is a design and build project complete with solar energy use, rainwater catchment systems, pedestrian-only neighborhoods, auto share, and all things green. In 2018, Amakiasu retired from Truly Living Well to focus on writing and has several adult and children's books in the making. Her first publication, Buried Treasure, Unearth Your Golden Soul, was released in September of 2022. In addition to her work as a writer, she is developing several community youth initiatives, which she hopes to launch in the near future. Amakiasu has traveled abroad several times, visiting or living in England, France, South Africa, Hong Kong. Didn't we go to Jamaica once together with a group of sisters? You were on that trip, right? Yes, I know you were. Anyway, it is such a pleasure and an honor. And I also want to say I've known Amakiasu for many, many years. And whenever we had a conversation, I always felt like I was speaking to myself. And that's not egotistic or anything, but I heard things that she was saying that sounded like things that I say. And when I started reading her book, which is phenomenal, I said, okay, we've read the same folks. We've had similar parts of that journey of self exploration and questioning kind of what is life about, where are we going, and we are gonna just open up the spotlight for Amakiasu to join us so we can have a discussion. I have lots of questions and things, but here you are. How are you, beautiful?
Hi there. Hi there. It's so good to be here with you, both of you.
Thank you.
It's so good to be. It's so good to be with you as well. The name of your book should be right in front of me. It is Buried Treasure, Unearth Your Golden Soul.
Buried treasure.
What did I say?
Oh, I thought you said bird.
Bird, that was just my accent. Buried Treasure,
Okay.
Unearth Your Golden Soul.
Yes.
So, rather than just say, tell us about the book, I hope you have it in your hand.
I
Do you have a copy of it in your hand?
Yeah.
I would love for you to start with the poem that I read in there called Heaven Sent.
Okay.
Because that kind of sets the stage for everything that you talk about.
Yes, it does.
So, and this one is written by you. I know
Yes.
that you have a lot of quotes and affirmations and things by some of the greats, but you have a lot of your own good stuff in there too.
Okay, Heaven Sent. And literally this poem came through me. It was not I didn't write it. I feel like I didn't write it,
Through you.
Why should I lament when even this, my broken heart, is heaven sent? Does not the sun still shine? Does not the dew still rise and sparkle? My chest doth heave with every breath, and the birds sing their melodic song in the dawn. Why should I lament when even this, my broken heart, is heaven sent? In these dark hours, I reach for the divine, the one power that infuses everything, every cell, every atom. I reach for its wisdom, its comfort, its all knowingness, its grace, and its assurance of goodness and mercy. This, our source, has whispered in my ear, I am here. So I place my bets on this, not that. I place my injured heart in the hands of the absolute and know with the greatest of knowing that I am healed and whole, stepping into deeper realms of consciousness, of love and high vibratory radiance right now and forever. Amen. Ashe.
Ashe.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. What a beautiful, beautiful piece. And when I read that, I thought of with the grieving process, you know, and the grieving process can be about loss of loved ones. It can be the loss of relationships, which you mentioned a lot in your book, and I know you're going to speak about that as I guess one of the impetus for you creating, you know, the story and kind
Yes.
of through your own self-examination. Tell us how the book came about and you know what you were thinking about. Tell us a little bit about the story.
Yes. Well, uh I was in my second marriage, and it really was going along, as they say, swimmingly, swimmingly well. And but we had a change. You know, I lived in North Carolina at Earth Haven Eco Village for a while, my husband and I, and we decided we were ready to come back to Atlanta. And uh, that was the transition that changed everything. He didn't want to return to Atlanta. He wanted to return to Pittsburgh, his hometown. And
Yes.
I kind of, I wasn't ready to do that, but it didn't mean, to either of us, it didn't mean that our relationship was over. At least I didn't think it did.
Mhm.
So, um, he had my blessings, and I still had children in college, and I just didn't think that moving was the right time for me to move. So
Mhm.
I said, well, in a year or two, let's decide, where we're going to be, what we're going to do. So he went on to Pittsburgh, and as it turned out, he had all this stuff going on inside him that he hadn't shared with me. And he had decided in his head that it just wasn't going to work, and it was over. And so, he left, and I'm calling him, trying to say, hi, how's your trip? How are things going? And he wasn't communicating. And it was devastating. It was just devastating. Because we were happily married, and I was looking into the future, where we were going to go, traveling, we were going to do all those things. So I was just completely crushed. I was completely crushed, and I didn't know, where to turn, what to do. Um, I I couldn't I couldn't let myself. It's like I said to myself, your life can't be ruined because of this person. You
Right.
cannot allow your life to be ruined, you know. And
Mhm.
so that's when I was like, okay, the only way I knew to do anything to recover was through some kind of spiritual work.
Mm.
And so what I knew to do was to get the books that I love so much and that I found so much truth and beauty in, to get those in my hands and
Mhm.
begin reading them, reviewing them. And
Right.
that's literally what I did. I mean, I took those books and I had a stack by my bed, and
Mhm.
every day I was in one of those books. And I would underline, and every now and then something really, like, I'm like, oh my gosh, how could I have forgotten that?
Mhm.
And,
Mhm.
and I got a little notebook and started writing them down. And I even had pieces of paper with a black marker where I would write, a statement, an affirmation, and put it up on the ceiling. I mean, I put it up where I woke up, and there it was in my face.
Mhm. Mhm.
So that is how this book was born.
Mm.
Wow.
Um, because after a while, I had a little notebook full of these quotes, and I remember looking through it and thinking, "Gosh, this is such good stuff. This is wonderful stuff. I could
Mhm.
make a book." And
Good for
that's
you.
yeah, that was it.
Good for you. When I saw Florence Scovel Shinn and Neville Goddard, I'm like, okay, she's got it. She's got, a big part of what she needs because, Neville Goddard talks about using your wonderful imagination to create your world.
Yes,
So it's like, how could
yes,
you forget that? It's like I'm in charge of
yes,
creating my existence, my life, my journey. Um,
yes.
and Florence Scovel Shinn talks about the same thing, just from a different angle. But
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, the power within is extraordinary, and we are so distracted and busy and so on and so forth that we forget, or we never even connect with that power.
Mhm.
But it's extraordinary.
Right,
You know.
right. No, absolutely. There's
Yeah.
a place again near the beginning of your book where you said um, through your readings and reviewing of the readings that you've done over the years, you found several profound truths. I
Yes.
read those truths. I was like, wow, she's definitely on it. Can you put your finger on that list?
Yes. Yes. Uh, yes. And one of the statements I made before that was that the ironically many of the writings I was putting down had nothing to do with love or emotional pain directly, but
Right.
rather they carried the message of who we are and what lies at our deepest core as spiritual beings.
Hmm,
I was
absolutely.
therefore reminded of several profound truths. Number one, though sometimes impacted deeply by them, we are not our stories. Number two, circumstances change continuously. So being a witness instead of an object of circumstance is a far better choice.
Mm.
Mhm.
And so we need to choose, what we're going to be.
Mhm.
And number three, the universe is benevolent. There's just so much good, just it's everywhere at our feet. There's abundance, there's beauty, there's it's so the universe is benevolent, and all we have to do is tap into that.
Mhm.
And four, we create our reality with our thoughts. Our thoughts are everything. I mean, the way we think, what we think, is so very important. And finally, dependency on others for our happiness leads to trouble.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
so when you find that when one person matters so much that they can bring you misery and pain, it's something's wrong. I mean,
Mhm.
like excessively all the time. That something needs to shift.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah,
Absolutely. And
yeah.
it's about starting from within.
Yes, exactly,
I don't
exactly.
want to dominate the discussion
Well,
between
I know
myself
you
and
have
my friend.
I know you have a list of questions that was important for you to get through, especially those expressions. Um,
You might be interested in this,
um,
her perception of God.
Amakiasu, I am grateful to meet you. I've heard so much about you.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, delightful and such beautiful spirit. And I got a chance to glimpse aspects of the book. I went online a little bit earlier at Amazon this afternoon,
Mm-hmm.
and I looked at part one, and I highlighted two words. The womb is where light enters.
Mm.
Yeah.
And I wanted you to, as you have been articulating through the poem that you read at the beginning, share more with us and the listening audience about womb and where the light enters. That was before you. There's the quote that's debated who actually said it. Was it Hemingway or a few others that says, "We're all broken. That is how light gets in." And so I was putting those together, and I was curious about how you understand the womb and the light entering into
Hmm.
both of us.
Yes, yes. So there are occasions when we reside in the wound, when the injury, we can't seem to shake the injury.
Mhm.
Um, and that can be very devastating for people. Some tragedies, some experiences are so very difficult that people don't recover.
Mm.
So the wound has the potential to bring tremendous light. So I just I want to say that because it's not really so easy, you know. It's not always easy to recover from woundedness. But the wound, the beautiful thing is that potential. The potential for the wound to create peace, harmony, understanding it's huge. And I think it's one of the great mysteries, the great I don't know if it's conundrum, but you know, one of those things in life that is quite strange and wonderful, that you can have great pain, but it can bring you insight. It can help you to grow. It can make you a better person.
Yeah.
So, you know, I definitely have had that experience myself, not just in relation to this book and the story that I tell, but when my mother passed when I was 18, it was just, we were just in a state of complete shock, just utter and complete shock. And we were walking around, the whole family, like zombies. I mean, it was so, you know, unexpected and so painful. But I remember myself saying, you know, there has to be some good in this. There has to be. Otherwise, I'm not going to make it. You know, that
Yeah.
is what I told myself. I said
Your
to myself,
grandmother whispered, right? I'm sorry, your grandmother whispered.
yes. She came to me and she said, "You are our Rock of Gibraltar." And I was like, "What? I'm 18. What do you mean? What are you talking about?"
Right.
My older brother and sister, what about them?
You know, as you were sharing, it reminded me of group discussion that I had. I have several groups. So my mixed group last night, there's one member who is possibly going to be forced to move out of the facility where she lives. It's kind of for elders and a group. And she was very distraught, and you could see the woundedness, to continue to play on that word, that she was experiencing with fear of where will I go, where will I live, and children, the daughter in particular is helping her. And so one of the members in the group said, "Well, you know, you must be able to just honor your limitations, and your limitations will also find ways to be of help to you in your journey where you're headed." So as they continued the discussion, I leaned over and said to her, I said, you know, and there's the other side and importance of this wound and limitation is that it also affords you to see your possibilities. So when you move into the acceptance of your limitations, then it opens up this pathway of healing. I go back to what you said, the light can enter and you can see the possibilities that lie even in the pain that you are experiencing.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's it's an amazing thing, you know. It really truly is.
I was watching an interview by Trevor Noah with Will Smith last night.
Wow.
And it was a beautiful interview because it was all about, you know, Will being in a really bad place, you know, and making a bad decision publicly, you know, on one of the biggest nights of his life, you know, receiving the Academy Award, but just doing something that's so overshadowed all the good, you know, that he's done. And so they just had a good talk about that. And it sounds like he's healing from that wound, you know, that partly he created, but things were happening around him at the time. He didn't go into a whole lot of it, but the wound was there, and it was kind of an explosion. But now he's healing from that, and you know, and it was just a beautiful interview because people so often want to identify us by mistakes or our weakest points, and we,
Yes.
do so much good and do so much positive in the world. And bam, that one thing that is horrible and out of character now becomes to define you. And
Yes.
which is
Yeah.
unfortunate. Which is unfortunate. Trevor said, that there were people who said, oh, we got to see the real Will Smith at that moment. And he said,
Oh.
no, he said, I didn't feel like it. He said, I felt like I was looking at a Will Smith who was in trouble, and made a mistake.
Right. Yes. Yes. Are you still there?
Yeah, sorry about that.
That's okay.
I was
I
playing.
just I was being patient and calm.
Oh, yeah. No, we wouldn't leave you hanging out there like that. But that place of the light coming from the wound is so very, very powerful. I really
Yeah. Yeah.
appreciated that.
This whole book is it's like such a demonstration of that, because I was severely wounded, but look what came out of it.
Right, a book, a best-selling book at that. And so much good. Not even just the book, but the growth that you've had since that point. It's like you almost
Yeah.
needed to go through that to get to this point.
Exactly. And my hope and prayer is that others will benefit from it. That's
Mm-hmm.
that's what this is all about. It's
Oh,
about
absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. It's like,
yeah,
people can either learn things on their own or they can learn from other people's experiences with that same thing. So they don't have to
yes,
go through it, you know.
right.
Thinking of the book when Stella got her groove on by the author um,
Was it Terry McMillan?
Terry McMillan.
Uh-huh.
I mean, when you write stories like that, it's so that other people won't have to go through that experience.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
Mm-hmm.
you're on the beach and, it's cute bellboy or whatever, but don't try to take it home and, but anyway, there's so many, and we've all, done that. And we see the signs, we see things coming and, danger, 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 remember,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Will, was he Smith too? Was Will
Yeah.
from
Will Robinson.
Will
Rob-
Robinson, Boston State. I know
Boston State.
we're dating ourselves. A lot of people, younger people, have no idea what we're talking about. But it's like he would say, "Danger, danger, danger, danger," and sometimes we walk right into that danger because we want to have the experience ourselves. So, thank you for writing the book, because it really it can keep a lot of people from walking into danger, and not just that, but just being able. It gives them a platform and words of wisdom to help them through difficult
Yeah.
times. And
Right. And even just to maintain ourselves on a daily basis,
yeah,
we
yeah,
need that spiritual check-in.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
that's what I hope this book provides.
We, we,
Yeah.
we definitely need that. Gosh, you've got some. I was writing the names of everyone that I saw: Deepak Chopra and Susan Taylor and Rumi and Neville Goddard and
Yeah.
so many of the greats. And it's just nice to have that collection where you
Mm-hmm.
skim through and say, yeah, I do remember reading this by him or her, or even if you
Yeah.
haven't before, it's just words of wisdom that you can add to your
Right.
collection of sayings and words that help to carry us through.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
highlighted.
So
Share.
there's this one quote I'd like to read.
Sure.
It's related to what we're saying.
Hmm.
It says, "For a star to be born, a gaseous nebula must collapse. So collapse, crumble. This
Yes.
is not your destruction. This is your birth."
To birth.
Mm.
That's right.
It's so easy to frame challenges into something that's, just we think of it as destroying us.
Right.
Right. Right.
When really that breakdown, that breaking down, breaking up is allowing us to be reformed and reborn. And
Right.
so that's the beauty of,
Born.
what
Born.
looks like a hot mess,
Mm.
when we
Yeah.
collapse and crumble. It
Yeah.
looks like a hot doggone mess. But coming out of that, just like the ashes, is a phoenix, you know. So it's
Right.
So I'm sorry. Go ahead. We got this
no,
a few
no,
seconds delay, I think.
that's all I wanted to say.
I was reading in one portion, and I like what you just said, and we could just make a guess that some of the persons who may be listening may be, let's stick with the metaphor of the womb, and feel shattered, and that life has overshadowed them, or the experience has overshadowed them.
Yes.
I like what you said. You said, in my heart of hearts, I believe life was for me, not against me.
Yes.
Say more about that when you talked about the silver lining, the dank tunnel, the dismissal, but you knew that there was a light at the end.
Yes.
How, what continued to give you inspiration and hope? Who did you turn to for support along the way as you nurtured your way through that dark tunnel?
Well, it's really my faith in the presence with the capital P.
With the
You
capital.
know,
Yeah.
Mhm.
I have that kind of faith
Mhm.
despite appearances. So the appearances would make one think otherwise. All the
Mm.
appearances would make one think otherwise.
Mhm.
But I have had deep in myself for many, many years since I was young. Somewhere around my teenage years, I got this notion that, I had this period where I doubted that there was a God, you
Mhm.
know, and there was just too much trouble in the world. There couldn't be a God. And then I evolved from there over the course of 5 or 6 years. I went off to college and everything. Somehow I got in my head that, yeah, there's a God. I just got to figure it out. What is it? How does it function? And that's when I began all my studies.
Mhm.
Um, yeah. So the faith in the presence
Mhm.
is what held me, held me to that
Mm.
light, that
Mhm.
sense that there is light down there. I
Yeah.
can't
Right.
see it. I can't. It's pitch black up in here. You know,
No, it's
I can't see it,
there.
but
Yeah.
I know it's there. You
Yeah.
know, so that, yeah,
I liked what you said about your journey, in terms of thinking that there wasn't a God, and then then wanted to research it, but then also coming to the point that, um, in terms of what does God look like, and it's like it's not about what God looks like. It's like are
Mm.
we acting like God?
yes,
People could see
absolutely,
that in themselves, that they're like God, made in the image. The image is the likeness, not physical. How
right,
God doesn't look like me or you or whatever, but all of us, and it's inside of you.
yes,
And
yes.
carrying that was. It seemed like that was a major aha moment for you.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, because that was part of my doubt as a young person was the things that I was being taught, or the things my interpretation was that, the Bible said that we were made in God's image. And I'm like, what the heck? What? God's image? There is no image. Come on. And
Right.
I kept like feeling such a resistance to what was being said to me.
Hmm.
So that was the other reason, not just for the trouble in the world, but some of the things that the Bible seemed to be saying. Basically, what I know now is that I didn't get it. I didn't understand it. So
Mhm.
that image was not physical. It was, we are made like God. We have the power to create, to
Mhm.
manifest. We have the power to take a thing and a kernel, a thought kernel, and
Mhm.
make it into something from thought to reality, to physical reality. Hallelujah. Lord have mercy. And we do it all the time
All the
in the most small thing, a dinner meal. You know what I mean? We're like, look in the refrigerator. Oh, there's nothing to eat.
we
We
create
don't
a
have.
wonderful
I
meal.
don't know what to fix.
Mhm.
And the next thing you know, you have a meal that is just jamming. It is so wonderful and delicious, and you know, you created it from this
Mhm.
little kernel. And so
Right.
that's, that is what we have. That is what we have in our hands, that
Mhm.
kind of potential to start
Mhm.
with a thought, a seed thought, and create something beautiful, or create something needful,
Mhm.
something that's needed. It's just a wonderful life, is just phenomenal.
Well, that's why I appreciated you picked the text from what I refer to as the little bitty Johns. Uh, First
Oh,
John 1, for greater is that which is in you than that which is in the world.
Oh yeah.
I know that was
he
kind of a
said,
little
switch
twist
it to
on the
me.
on the how the text, particularly the King James version, writes it. But I used to love that particular
Yes.
text. Here does is that so great is the spirit that's in me, the spirit that's in the world.
Yes.
But
Yes.
and that's what I hear even your sharing and your testimony tonight is about, and is a witness to those who are joined to be with us, that there's a greater source of light within, that
Mm-hmm.
nothing in the world, the darkness in the world, cannot extinguish, because that light is brilliant within them. Is that?
Mhm.
I think
Yeah.
that's what I'm hearing you say
Yes,
to
yes,
us.
and we
Come
each
on.
have it. I mean,
Yes,
it's
yes.
it's present in everyone. It's present in everything. It's,
Right. Right.
yeah. It's
That's
it's
one of the things that you and I haven't talked in a long time, but I was actually heading up, managing all of the education programs at the DeKalb County Jail for a couple years.
oh
And that was like the greatest job that I ever loved, because of, touching spirits, one
mm.
time or in
Ah,
small groups, and just planting seeds. Would always start with a meditation, and the meditation would usually guide them into looking at themselves and kind of remember came here, like this is like a temporary holding spot. Okay, you messed up, you
right.
did something, it was
Uh-huh.
really wholesome,
Uh-huh.
but it's a chance to think about what you need to do to get back on your path, so that you can make your unique contribution to the world.
Yes.
And we just had some amazing discussions, and there were people at the jail who didn't quite get me or my
Mm-hmm.
staff, because we're like teaching liberation theology, like opening up the mind, and they're looking to lock them up theology. So there were folks there that probably just said, well, can they just go away? Can they just leave? And then I did end up going away to Virginia to help my parents out, and then COVID hit and they closed down the program, and I
mm.
go back knocking and seeing if there's a way to kind of reinstitute that program, and they may have put together some pieces of it again. I'm not sure, but
Oh wow. Yeah.
has potential. I mean, no one needs to be thrown away, regardless of
Mm-mm-mm-mm.
transgressions or bad decisions, or any of that stuff. And the fact that we need not be defined but by those lowest points, like the Will Smith story.
Right, right.
Doesn't define
Yes.
all the good, all the powerful acting and things that he's done
Mm.
in his life. He did something
Mm-hmm.
in a real public for that haunts him, but
Yes.
he's kind of make peace with himself and forgive himself.
Yes,
know,
exactly. Exactly. Yes, yes.
but
That's beautiful.
yeah, he needs a copy of your book. We need to sign. You need to sign one.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
making me, yeah, I would love to, I would love for those women or those individuals at the jail, wherever that was, to
Hmm.
have my book, So I've already written a note to remind myself to follow that up. And maybe
We
you
can.
can assist me with that. But
Yeah.
yeah, I would love to make this book available.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ironically, the book that I've been sitting on not sitting on because I've been working it and working it, working it. It's stories from the jail. It's poetry and prose and lessons learned and all of that.
Oh,
I
yes.
think it needs put out there just to encourage people to go back and work with those populations in the jails and the prisons. They're hungry for information. I had
Absolutely. I'm sure. Yes. Yes.
oh yeah, I've had folks say, well, if I had you as a third grade teacher or a fourth grade teacher, we wouldn't be sitting here together. Because as a 25-year-old or 30-year-old, they could have benefited from learning, anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah, but certainly think about that. Think about the audiences that you can share your book with, and
Mm-hmm.
there's amazing the juvenile justice places. I don't know what's-
Yes. Yes. Well, one of the things that I really liked was in writing this book was the idea, which came to me early on, that it needed to be easy to read.
Yeah, I saw
And
that.
yeah, I wanted it to be, I wanted you to be able to open to a page and get the gist of it in a very, you know, so if you read a quote, that takes less than a minute to read. And then of course, if you read the explanation, that might take a minute. But um, I wanted it to be simple and straightforward. And if you really want more, you can get it. You know what I mean? You can dig in and read the explanation more several times, and then plumb your own depths and see how it applies to you. But you can
Mhm.
also just look at the quote and close the book. You know, so I like that idea. I wanted something that was going to work that way. I'm so glad that it came to me to do it like this.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm. Yeah,
yeah.
no, I think it's beautiful, and one of the things I would tell the people at the jail, my students, is that everyone has a book inside of them. We all have
Mm-hmm.
books that people can learn from, as we
Yes.
were saying earlier in the conversation. So I think it's great to encourage people because the creativity and all of that it takes to put a book together like yours. I mean, it's just takes a lot, but it's so soothing to the soul too.
Mm.
It
That's
feels
beautiful. Yeah.
so good, being able to create like that. So I'm really excited for you and
We want to
with
show
you.
we want to show a cue of your book once again. Our producer
Okay.
working behind that's going to come up.
Oh, this is the upcoming book signing. Book
Book.
signing and launching, right? Book
Yeah,
launch.
the book launch. Yeah, that's on Sunday. This Sunday, December 4th, at
Yeah.
Right.
in East Point. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's at 4 o'clock, and it's at 3353 Washington Road in East Point. So we're going to do a little interview, kind of like we're doing now, but brief, and
Mm-hmm.
let people ask questions and just talk about the book a little bit, have some good food and good music. And yeah, it'll
Yeah,
be really nice.
that's going to be
Yeah.
wonderful. I hope that the listening audience in Atlanta can attend. Can people attend virtually? Have
No,
you have
I don't have a way for that to happen.
not yet? Yeah, that'll be the next book signing. We'll work.
Yeah, I'll try.
But yeah, because we're such a global community now, and I'm sure people
Hmm.
the show in New York are like, wow, I would love to be there. But if you can't be there, at least buy Amakiasu's book.
Say that
Yeah.
again.
I said if they can't be there, I at least want them to go out and buy your book. It is such a
Oh
nice.
yes.
got the Kindle
Thank
book
you.
to do the little speed reading thing, but it's like I bought a paperback because I wanted to be able to write notes in it. I want you to sign it. Obviously, I'll be at your book signing.
Oh, wonderful. Yay.
And so we're probably out of time. Our time together goes. We may have to make this show an hour and a half or 2 hours because
That did go fast.
it just goes so fast. But it's always packed with important content and things, information that I think touches people's hearts. And it's just such a confusing time we're going through right now. So
Yeah.
we try to have not try we invite people to the show who are thinkers and doers and can help people to feel good about themselves, and
so important.
to inspire them.
So important. Yeah.
I want to do this for myself. I'm on HBO Max in a documentary that's entitled Master of Light. So HBO Max, I think during the holidays, HBO is free for those audience who may not have it. It's a true story, very powerful, of a young artist who went to prison for 10 years and got a call from New York and wanted to know if I would be open to working with him as his therapist. And we met and worked nearly a year. And they did a lot of the filming in my office. So it's on HBO Max and it's entitled Master of Light. And George Morton.
Yeah, and George is a phenomenal artist. I mean, he practiced his craft in prison. He was drawing. Rembrandt. He was doing Rembrandt and things like that, and giving them to the guards. I mean, selling them to the guards and the people in the prison. And he ended up going to one of the best universities for art in Europe. I don't know if they mentioned the name of the institute he went to, but he is, so part of the therapy, I think, was because he was bridging two worlds. He grew up in a crack house kind of thing, of drug users, including his mom and grandmother. And so the story is very personal and very raw with family members.
Amazing.
Right? You will love that story of his journey.
Yes, I'm very interested. So that's a movie.
Eagles versus pigeons. Which one would you rather be?
He said I want to be an eagle.
Why?
Because they fly higher than pigeons.
And what does that allow them to do?
See more.
Who are you?
So much of who I am today is my experience growing up in my hometown of Kansas City.
My mother had me at 15.
All I wanted was somebody to love me.
What have I done that's so bad that you can't forgive?
Mama set me up to go to prison instead of her. When the judge sentenced me to 11 years, I said, I'll show you. I think about the system that failed her. I am not what has happened to me.
Your story, your experiences, your being seen. It's no accident.
Well, I kind of always escape through art. If I just took the next step, the world would open up before me. Share this inner light within you. I am not what has happened to me. I am what I choose to become.
Theme this evening, I am who I choose to become, not what's happened to me. So, are we? You got to see it. You have to see it.
Yes. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So, as we close out, what closing words of wisdom would you like to share with our audience?
To keep one's faith keep one's faith. Restoring one's faith, sometimes it may be just being quiet with yourself, or you may need some resources, some books, or some spiritual text to help you. But the faith is for me, it's the initial thing that helped everything else to fall into place, is to have that faith. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Amakiasu, for joining us this evening. I look forward to your book signing. Everyone go out and buy her book.
Thank you.
Those in Atlanta, make sure you make the book signing.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
All right.
We'll
be in touch.
All right.
Take
Peace,
care.
everyone.
Ashe and
Ashe.
namaste. And thank all of
Namaste.
you for joining us tonight. And we will see you back here next.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.